Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. Rather than me sitting and talking to a camera, you're just gonna hear my voice. Today's video is basically plan your courses with me. I've been wanting to sit down and film a video like this for a while just because I know how overwhelming and stressful this all can be. So hopefully today everything that I walk you through helps clear a few things up and maybe gives you a better sense of direction when it comes to course planning. So with that being said, let's just jump right into today's video. Let's go. So, course planning in and of itself is a very confusing and overwhelming process, and quite frankly, UBC doesn't really offer a lot of guidance in terms of actually planning your courses. So, the very first thing that I want to show you is UBC's academic calendar for the Bachelor of Science. And essentially, everything on this webpage is the stuff that you need to be aware of for your degree. Most importantly, the first things that I want to point out to you are something called the communication requirement, the science and art requirement, as well as the science breadth requirement. I filmed another video on these guys explaining what exactly they are and what you need to be aware of. So make sure you go check that out just to better understand exactly what those are all about. The other thing that I really want you guys to pay attention to on this specific webpage is that it breaks down all of the specializations. And the thing with UBC is that at the end of your first year, you have to declare your major, at least in sciences you do. So for example, let's just look at biology. Within biology, it'll tell you a little bit about the major itself, what the specialization requirements are, but what I want you guys to pay attention to here is what they tell you you need to complete for your first year. They tell you that you need 3 credits of a communication requirement. They break down the biology courses you need to take, the chemistry courses you need to take, as well as the math courses or computer science courses. What I want to talk about are these little superscripts right here. You can see there are a few of them, but if you scroll to the very bottom of the page, there are all of these footnotes, and these footnotes are really, really important because they kind of tell you what the requirements are for those first year courses. Something else that I want you guys to pay attention to here is how they have math set up. You can see that they've got Math 100 or 102 or 104, and then they've also got Math 101 or 103 or 105. In situations like this, where they show you that there are multiple options, this is telling you that these courses are equivalent. So the next specialization that I really quickly want to look at is computer science. One of the main reasons that I just wanted to show you a couple of these specializations is just to give you a basis of comparison and to show you that a lot of the first year courses are pretty similar. With computer science, it is a little bit different in its structure compared to that of biology. It's still required that you are taking 6 math credits in total. It's still required that you're taking 6 communication credits. The main difference is the number of electives that you have. A trick with a lot of the specializations is that because they give you so many elective choices, you could be taking almost anything. But one thing to remember is that when you apply and get into the Faculty of Science, you haven't already applied to the specific specialization that you intend on majoring in. So you're not guaranteed entry into that program. So using these electives in this case would probably be best spent on courses that might actually help you get into other specializations just in case you don't get into computer science. The very last specialization that I want to show you, and the one that I'm going to use as kind of the basis for this whole video, is biochemistry. In terms of first year, again, I just want to bring this to your attention. You've got 6 credits of your communication requirement. The same deal as before, you need biology 121 and 140. You also need Chem 121, Chem 123. You need 2 math courses and physics, which, as we saw earlier, was almost the exact same as the biology specialization. In general, this is pretty consistent with most specializations, so you don't really need to be worried all too much. The next thing that I want to bring your attention to are the courses that you actually need to get into the specialization you want to. As they say right at the top of their webpage, you must have completed all departmental and faculty requirements listed below by the end of your first winter session or your first year for any specialization to which you choose to apply. You will see that it breaks down what all of the individual majors and honor programs are, as well as what the combined majors and combined honors programs are. So in general, this is a very important webpage to look at because it breaks this stuff down for every single major, every single honors program. You will notice that some specializations don't require any prerequisite courses. In this case, obviously there's nothing specific that you have to have completed, but again, if you want to set yourself up in the most favorable way possible in both your first year and second year, I strongly encourage you to go and actually look at what it says under the academic calendar for your first and second year courses. Now we're getting to the good stuff. So as I said before, I'm going to use biochemistry as the basis for this little tutorial. So now you can see that I'm under my course schedule page. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is create a new work list. I'm the type of person that loves planning. So, stuff like this, I love. So now that my work list has been created, the very first thing that I'm going to go to is browse. And I'm going to browse, let's just say standard timetables, just to explore this. On this page, you can see that they break down all the standard timetables and organize them by degree. So obviously, because we're in the Faculty of Science, we're going to be going to the good old BSc. You can see that there are many options for what this program could look like, but if you look at all of them, some days are really heavy and some days are super light. So if you were interested in a standard timetable, that's what you would be looking at. But in my case, I feel like getting creative, so I am going to go to the courses tab. Because we're focusing on first year biochemistry, and this is in no particular order, but I'm just going to kind of show you generally how this works. So the very first thing that I'm going to go to is biology. And within biology, you can see that they show you all the different courses that you could potentially be taking. As per the requirements of the biochemistry degree, I need to take Biology 121. And you can see under Biology 121, they give you the title of the course as well as a brief description of what this course is. They also tell you how many credits the course is worth, as well as what the prerequisites you need are. So here you can see that they break down all the possible times that you can take the course. So say you want to take Biology 121 in term 1 at 8 a.m. You would then click this option and save it to your work list. Keep in mind, when you save something to your work list, you're not actually registered in it. So another course that you need for biochemistry specifically is Biology 140. And again, same deal as Biology 121. The prerequisites are from straight out of high school with Biology 11 or Biology 12, and it is only worth 2 credits. I don't really care when I'm taking this, but I would like to take it in first term when I'm taking my other biology course. For the purposes of building a nice timetable, I think what I'm going to do is I will take the lab on a Wednesday, and I'm going to save it to my work list. That covers the biology courses that I need. So the next thing that I'm going to go and take a look at are the chem courses that are required. Chem 121 and Chem 123 are the most common first-year chemistry courses that are required for almost any specialization. So I'm going to go ahead and register in Chem 121. And here you'll notice that Chem 121 is worth 4 credits. So with 121, there is both a lecture and a laboratory component. Scrolling through all of these options, I have a few lecture choices and several laboratory choices, but I think I'm going to take Chemistry 121 on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10 a.m. So I'm going to save that to my work list. And now if I go to my work list, something that you're going to notice is that you're going to have kind of this little notification that's telling you need to register in a lab component. So it'll give you a few choices and it'll show you where you can take them and where those will fall in your schedule. I am going to take the lab on Tuesday afternoon. And I will click on that, and then I will save it to my work list. Now I'm going to go back to chemistry, and I know that I need to take Chemistry 123. But something that you need to pay attention to here is that the prerequisites have kind of changed. Now you need to have also completed Chemistry 121. So generally speaking, if there's a prerequisite, this course, Chem 123, will likely only be available in term 2. So looking at these choices again, I know that this is going to fall in term 2, and just for consistency, I'm going to pick the same time, and I'm going to have chemistry on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 10 a.m. again. Okay, so now if I go to the work list that I have started to create, you will see again that I need to pick a lab for this course. And again, for the purposes of consistency, I'm just going to pick the same lab time. So the next courses that I'm going to add to my work list will be math courses. I am going to take Math 102, You can see here that the only prerequisites for Math 102 is high school calculus and a grade of at least 80%. There are only a couple options that are really going to work, and this is where it gets complicated because a lot of the time there will be course conflicts. But right now, Math 102 106 is looking like a nice section because it fits just before my chemistry class, so let's save this one to my work list. So now we're going to go back to math, and I know that I need to take Math 103. So now you'll see that the prerequisites for Math 103 have changed. Rather than just having to have completed high school calculus, it's expected that you've also completed Math 102. Any of these courses that they have listed here would count as the prerequisite for this course. Realistically, the only time that fits my schedule for this course is at noon. With most science programs, it's expected that you take at least 3 credits of physics. If you're like me and you didn't take physics in high school, you're going to have to take Physics 100. But let's just pretend for a hot minute that I was smart and I actually took physics in high school and I could just jump right to Physics 101. So, under Physics 101, you can see that they tell you need either Physics 12 or Physics 100. So even if you took Physics 11, that doesn't cut it. You need Physics 12. They also tell you that the co-requisite, a course that you are expected to be taking at the same time as Physics 101, are any of these courses. You will notice here that they are telling you to choose one section from all 2 activity types. So essentially that means that you quite literally have to pick both a lecture section and a laboratory section. Let's just say I want to take physics in term 2 at 8 a.m. I am going to do an afternoon lab on Wednesday for physics. So now let's go look at my timetable. Once you get to this point, this is when I would encourage you to count how many courses you are registered in for each term. You can see here that in first term, we are currently registered in 4 different courses. If we look at term 2, we've got 3 lecture-based courses as well as 2 labs. So we still have a little bit of room in terms of adding courses. Okay, so the next thing that we need to consider is a communication credit. Most of the time, students will take English 110. So I am content with what my first term looks like so far. I don't want to add any more. I don't want to overwhelm myself. But now what we need to pay attention to here is where your classes are located, because you only have about 10 minutes in between your classes. Math 102 and Chemistry 121 are both in the chemistry building, but math specifically is in the D wing and chemistry is in the B wing. I can tell you, because I have been in this building, that those are not even 5 minutes apart. I can tell you that chemistry to Buchanan is a very fast walk. A really big tip here is to actually go into Google Maps and enter in what these buildings are. At this point, when you're starting to consider maybe what your electives could be, you need to be aware of both the science breadth requirement as well as the science and art requirement. So with that in mind, I think I'm going to choose an elective that is in the Faculty of Arts. And the first thing that comes to mind for me is psychology. Okay, so here I can see that I have a couple options. There's Psych 101 and 102, and those are really the only first-year psychology courses. I've registered in Psych 101, so now if I go and look at my timetable, you're going to actually see that you have a conflict. They're telling you that your chem lab is in conflict with Psych 101. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my chem lab, and then I'm going to go back to the Chem 123 section. And now here I'm able to really look at when they offer all of the chemistry labs. Thursday instead of the Tuesday. So I will register in Chemistry 123 Lab 06. There we go. So now, if I go back to my timetable, you are going to see that it's looking a little wacky at this point because I've got a lab here, I've got a conflict here, or I'm just going to go back. Now that I am on this list page, I can actually look through all the courses that I have registered in. And obviously there's a couple duplicates here, so we're going to go through and fix that. I know that I'm not taking my chemistry lab on Tuesday anymore, so I can delete that from my work list. And if I go back and view my timetable, you can see nothing's changed in term 1 and a little bit's changed in term 2. Okay, so now that we've gotten to this point and we've pretty much registered in all the courses that we wanted to, we need to really just sit down and take a look at what the requirements are. So in terms of getting started on the science and art requirement, we've got a psychology course in there which counts as an elective and towards fulfilling those art credits. But now if we're considering the science breadth requirement, we're a little bit behind. Or at this point, we've taken care of life sciences, mathematics, chemistry, and physics. But what we haven't taken care of is computer science, earth and planetary sciences, or statistics. For the purposes of making wise decisions, I think I'm going to go with a computer science course, because that generally is a requirement for actually getting into some specializations. You have a couple choices here in terms of what computer science courses you could take in your first year. If we're here looking at computer sciences, you'll notice that there's 103, 107, and 110. And what I want you to pay attention to here is that both 103 and 107 are equivalent to 110. Okay, so now we can see that CPSC 110 section 202 fits nicely into my second term at 9 a.m. So you can see at this point, term 2 is starting to look really busy, and I don't really have a lot of choices as to when I can take this lab. So for the purposes of balancing out my second term, I'm going to register for the LG2 lab section. So now looking at my term 1, I have 4 courses, 4 lecture-based courses, plus 2 labs in my first term. And then if I look at my second term, I have 5 lecture-based courses and 3 labs. And I will tell you right now that this would be crazy intense. So it's really important to consider how manageable a timetable like this would be. Now that you've completed your work list and you have these courses kind of set up in a way that you like, it's important to consider the professors that you will have for these courses. A lot of the time, your experience in a course is completely dependent on the quality of the prof. And most of the time, professors are pretty good. If you know anybody at UBC, in the Faculty of Science specifically, I would strongly encourage that you reach out to them and ask them about their experience with the profs they had. I hated physics, you guys know that, but I had such an amazing prof that he made the 8 a.m. classes bearable. So that's just something else to consider on top of the location of where your classes are. So now you can see that we basically have a full schedule. We've got 30 credits in this work list. Getting creative and making multiple work lists is a really great way to see how all of these classes might fit in your general timetable. Right now, I'm just showing you what my integrated science one looks like for next year, and honestly, creating multiple work lists is just the best way for you to see how your courses may fall and what your days might look like. And whether or not this is what you actually end up doing for your courses doesn't really matter, but at the end of the day, it's just really good to be well informed and aware of how your schedule could play out and what that might look like for you in your first year. Okay, so I know that was definitely a bit of a longer video, but if you even made it halfway through, I'm incredibly impressed. And if you made it to the end, you are a freaking rock star. Like you're the real ones. Thank you. So anyways, I just wanted to say thank you again for watching. I know this video was a little tedious and there was a lot to think about, but that's just kind of how course planning works. There's so many different things that you need to think about and pay attention to when it comes to actually picking your courses and making sure you fulfill the prereqs and the co-reqs and you're getting the credits you need and just all that jazz. So here's hoping that today really helped clear a few things up for you and maybe made this process a little easier. Thank you so much for watching again. I really do hope this helped you, and I will see you guys next time with another video. Bye!